Most motorcycle crashes happen in 3 different places: corners, intersections, and merging areas. Not because riders are reckless, because they miss what matters early. So let's break down some real clips and show how to fix it before it turns into a crash. So we have the Crank BX. So we're going through a corner. Remember, we have to plan our ride, making sure that we're locating this hazard situation. It's very easy. And we just crashed into a car. Okay, that's not good. Shouldn't be doing that. There's the aftermath. Somebody's got a drone out. Nice little Honda Grom. Absolutely demolished. Let's take a look at what actually happened here, though. So we're coming up to here. This is a normal corner. Very easy. Remember, we have to plan our right. So locating hazardous situations. Intersections and corners are typically hazardous for motorcycle riders. Now, we talk a little bit about open lane patterns and a few other things. And hopefully in this video, we'll see some of that stuff. But right here, what should we be doing? We should be slowing down before the turn, make sure we can navigate. It's a blind turn. Can't see around all these trees. We don't know what's happening. We really don't know what's happening here. So we're going to go through here. There's a buddy up front. So it looks like we're slowed down. We're going 47 miles per hour. Not too bad. This should be pretty easy. He's setting himself up for the turn. He's going to start doing, he's starting to slow down a little bit. He thinks he's a little freaked out, so he's using the front brake.
From this episode, so take.
And then he's constantly going to the brake, into the brake, into the brake. So maybe he's trying to keep up with his friend. This is where you talk to each other under Cardo Pack Talk Edges. Link in the description for a discount on that. But you can talk to him and be like, hey, I can't keep up with you. Either he slows down or I'll meet you at the next spot.
Right.
So we come up to here and we start to have a little bit of a panic. Now, we could have just kept navigating through the corner. We talk a little bit about target fixation. A lot of people say target fixation is a big problem. No, target fixation is part of the tools that you have. You can either target fixate on the problem like that, or you can target fixate on the solution. So you don't want to target fixate on the problem. You want to target fixate on the solution. So target fixating on this focuses you on having to try to go towards it. So you hear about target fixation like, oh, I looked over here and then I went towards it. Yeah, that's what happens with target fixation. Okay, I keep using that word over and over again. It's basically where you're focusing. Wherever you focus is where you go. Okay, and that applies to everything in life. So if you focus on the solution, you focus on the real thing that's going to solve your problem, that's where you're going to go. So go towards that. So if you get to the point where you get distracted from your focus, okay, if you get on TikTok or if you get on anything while you're at work, you're not working, you're over here focusing on the wrong things and you start distracting yourself and you're like, oh crap, I need to get back to work. There's that. But if you're riding and you're like, oh, what's this? You get distracted on the problem, that's where you start to go. So you have to force yourself to get back into focus on the actual thing. So focus. Once you get to here, like, and you're looking at this and you get distracted by the TikTok or you're getting distracted by the problem over here when you're riding, you need to go like, no, focus, 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 focus. So you get to direct your eyeballs back to this. To actively do it versus just letting your body do it. Actively do it. So actively put yourself back in this position. Your natural body's going to get towards that position because that's where you're focused on, and you solve the problem, okay? So that's why you need to use target fixation as a tool to get yourself out of situations versus letting it just happen so then you fail, okay?
Safe.
There's the impact. Not good. Intersections punish hesitation. So if you're not ready to act, someone turning in front of you will decide for you. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. What's happening here? Nice little view. Looks like Arizona. Hey, good job. No, good job. So this is part of planning your ride. Let's take a look at what happened here. So plan your ride. So we're coming up to here, okay? Remember what I said, locating hazardous situations, intersections and corners. Now, having a gas station, having a business, if you're riding in the neighborhood, learning how to ride, which, guys, by the way, we have the new book. I start you off in the neighborhood so that you can understand these principles. So in a neighborhood, treat every driveway as a possible intersection, and then locate those sides of the vehicles in those driveways. You know how people back into their driveway or they're parked that way? Whatever it is, but it's side of you, so you see that. That's going to let you understand and learn how to observe these sides of the vehicles. And then on top of it, in the neighborhood, you have intersections. So you start there. But same thing here with businesses. People want to come in and go in. Okay, it's as simple as that. So we see this right here. Somebody decides to do that, we can't stop in time. Remember the three things we can do: brake, swerve, and accelerate? We're not going to be able to stop in time. We could slow down. We can slow down so that if we do have an impact, it's not going to be at a higher speed, or we can slow down hopefully enough to allow them in, and then we can go. But we can swerve also. So he made a great choice about swerving onto the shoulder, not too far. He tried to make it very easy on that tiny little shoulder. He did his best he could. He went a little bit off, right? So he went a little bit off, but it's still pavement. So it's still pavement. So very good. Good job. So he located the hazardous situation, saw that it was a relevant threat because it had the turn signal on. It became an active threat the moment he crossed over into our lane. So we have to navigate this active threat by putting ourselves in a new position for safety. And we do that by swerving, acceleration, or braking. So he swerved into a new position for safety off to here. And now we're in this position for safety. Now what can we do? Because it rotates. It constantly rotates. So we're in a new position for safety. Is this hazardous situation still happening? Is this still a relevant threat? Let's go ahead and continue navigating till we're out of this situation. So what can we do here? Do we keep swerving? We can do another swerve. We can do braking, it's not going to help too much. Or we can do emergency acceleration. So we swerved into the new position for safety. We can choose to swerve more because there's more pavement, right? Or we can swerve. Now we're here. We can accelerate out. So it's not just one of the three. You don't just swerve and you're like, I'm good. You have to swerve back. You can't just be like, oh, I braked. Now I'm standing here in the roadway. I'm good. You can't just emergency accelerate and keep doing this, right? Because now you're going to keep going in speed and probably get a ticket or run into something. So you're going to have to emergency swerve and then accelerate. You're going to have to emergency swerve and then brake. You're going to have to brake and then emergency accelerate. You're going to have to brake and then possibly accelerate and then swerve. Like you're going to have to do one of those three things, which makes sense to you if you're on a motorcycle or any vehicle. It's acceleration, braking, and then turning. Those are the three things we can do because we can only accelerate, brake, turn. That's all we can do on a motorcycle. Honking the horn's not going to do anything. Rev bombing's not going to do anything. You got to do something to move your body out of the way. So good job on this rider. I'm really happy we have something. So that's another thing is we have a stop sign coming up. So now we just passed the whole problem. We have a stop sign coming up. Why would we have a stop sign? It's an intersection. So we're back into planning. So we just navigated the active threat. We have to get ourselves back into a new position for safety because we continue going down here. We're going to that dirt, right? So now he has to navigate the dirt road surface hazard ahead of us, navigate ourselves back into a new position for safety, which is going to be this back in the lane, right? So he's going to swerve back into the lane. Now we're in a new position for safety, but we have an intersection coming up. So we're locating that hazardous situation. Is it a relevant threat? Yeah, I have to stop. It's a stop sign. So how do I navigate this thing? I have to stop and I have to apply the brakes. You see how it just keeps rotating, rotates and rotates and rotates. And it's very easy for me to say this and pause and then talk about it and then pause and then talk about it and pause. But once you start doing this over and over and over again, or at least watching this channel over and over again, you're going to get to a point when you're practicing and putting it into practice when you're riding that it comes quick. It's quick. It's just quick. It's a natural instinct. Natural to the point where it's like you're doing the plan method already in your head. And that's where I'm at in my life from driving as a firefighter with the ambulance and fire trucks. We had to take International Association of Professional Drivers. And I was driving hundreds and hundreds of miles every month. It was like 100 miles a day when I was on shift of just constantly putting this into practice. And then being an MSF rider coach, putting this into practice. And then riding all these miles myself, putting into practice. I'm 38, so I've been driving for 20 plus years over and over and over and over again. So it became so natural in my head, I didn't have a way to teach it. And so I distilled as much as my information as possible and made the plan method. 4 steps, 4 things that you just keep rotating over and over and over and over again. No advanced skills that are 30 checklists long. 4 things over and over and over again. And that's why I did put it in the book. It's very important. The MSF doesn't teach this. Nobody teaches this. They just teach you how to ride the motorcycle, but not how to navigate traffic. And so it's in this book right here, this new book that I put out for brand new riders from zero to a licensed rider. I made sure plan was in the middle of it so you can practice the plan method over and over and over again. So I don't know. I'm very passionate when it comes to the plan method because it's what's going to get people out of dangerous situations. If you don't control the merge controls you. So let's go ahead and focus on the patterns and trying to figure out how this happened so we don't make this mistake. Another driver not using their blinkers. Okay, blinkers don't matter. It's open lane pattern. You guys saw that, right? Open lane pattern. Good job moving into a new open spot. I know it says left turn only, but you're moving over. So all this stuff, once again, after action review, trying to figure out what went right, what went wrong. We're coming up to here. Intersections are hazardous situations, locating hazardous situations. We're in an intersection area. It's a roundabout, merge area, all that stuff. Craziness, right? So we're locating hazardous situations, maintaining our position for safety, always scanning for escape routes, always trying to maintain our space cushions. Very good. Now we're also locating any other hazardous situations. Just because we're in an intersection does not mean that that's the only hazardous situation. We are also looking for patterns. I see a big long stack of vehicles I can see right in front of the truck. And this is what I do when I'm driving. This happens all the time. When I'm driving, when I'm riding a motorcycle, that is my job. If my girlfriend or anybody important, even just by myself, I'm in my vehicle, let's say my van, right? My job is to get from point A to point B as safely as possible, as efficiently as possible. And efficient to me is safe. Efficient does not mean get there fast. It means to get there safe in one piece, not have an incident, not have an accident, not have nothing. To get there as safe as possible. So my only focus is that. So this is what I focus on. I'm not focusing on what's the best song. I'm not focusing on, hey, that person is looking funny in the other car. I'm not focusing on anything else. Anything else. I am focused on finding patterns. I am focused on finding space cushions. I'm focused on finding escape paths. That is my only focus. This is my job. This is what I do, especially if I'm the driver. If I'm the passenger, I can relax. But I'm the driver, this is what I do, and I love driving. So I get to the point where here is I see there's an open spot in my lane that I'm currently in front of the truck. And I see that the truck is coming up to his lane, and there's a big, long stack of vehicles. Boom, possible open lane pattern. Boom, possible if somebody wants to come into my lane, especially this truck driver. I'm going to maintain this space cushion until he makes a decision. That's what's running through my head. Okay. The motorcycle rider perceived that this truck driver was getting into our lane. I wanted to pause it right here because that tire is right on the line and his nose is pointing to the open spot. That tells me that driver is coming into my lane. That tells this motorcycle rider right here that this driver is coming into his lane. His reaction, his response is the horn. 3 things that we can do: emergency brake, emergency swerve, emergency accelerate. The horn's not going to do anything. Rev bombing's not going to do anything. That's not going to get you into a new position for safety. You're hoping that this driver hears you and they stop doing what they're doing that puts you in a position for danger. I'm going to do what I can do to put myself in a position for safety, to get myself out of a position of danger. And the only thing I do is turn, accelerate, decelerate. That's it. Emergency swerve, emergency accelerate, emergency brake. That's it. So here, what am I going to do? I'm going to straighten up a little bit and apply the brakes. Let him in. Simple. That's it. Because I saw it back there. Because when I saw it back there, I wasn't racing to get in front. When I saw it back there, I am making sure I'm maintaining my space cushion and have an escape path because I see it ahead of time. Now we're in this new position. My original thought of I'm going to apply the brakes to let him in was because I thought that there's only one lane. Now I see new information. Hey, there's an open spot on my left. So now I have 2 options. I can emergency brake or emergency swerve. Now, if I'm in this position and they swerve over to my left, I'm not staggered with them anymore. I'm side by side. He's going to hit me. So I'm going to have to get into the new lane. So good job on him for swerving. Very good. And he swerved back so he maintains his lane so he doesn't keep going. So very good. Now we're side by side. Braking is not really an option. Now we swerved into this lane. We're in this lane. Now what's the next option? We can either accelerate hard out or we could brake. We could brake and still let them in because we have more space. So right here, rev bombing is not going to do anything. Hand off the throttle, which is going to remove your acceleration. It's not going to do anything. We're side by side with this vehicle. You have to emergency swerve, emergency accelerate, emergency brake. In this situation, I'm going right towards the median right there. I need to emergency accelerate to get into the lane I want to go. Or think about it outside the box. I'm going to slow down, stop because I can't turn left. It's a red arrow. And I'm going to wait for that truck to go and then get back into the lane that I want to when it's safe as possible. Or I actually just stop and make a left-handed turn and get back in my road wherever I need to go. Use the GPS to get me back where I want to go. So that's why I always have my GPS on, because it'll just renegotiate or re-navigate where I need to go. It'll just redo the map. There's a ton of different things that we can do to make sure that we're not picking a fight with a 2-3 ton truck when we're like a 500-600 pound motorcycle. We're gonna lose. Accelerate out.